Michael Anderle, it seems like we just spoke. In
It
fact,
does.
it looks like we just spoke because the background is exactly the same for both of us. So obviously, we're recording these two episodes back to back. You're still
Yes.
in Dublin.
At the moment, in real life, I'm landing back in Los Angeles after about 35 days on the road.
And why are you in Dublin?
Presently is Worldcon, Dublin, Ireland, Worldcon. I've met someone, if you're a gamer, you might recognize his name, Steve Jackson, of Steve Jackson Games. And I got to meet with him, and I'm hoping that right now, in the future me, has already had email conversations going back and forth so that we might be able to bring some interesting conversations and opportunities related to Steve Jackson. We will see.
So the purpose of this show is we're going to talk about a different release strategy for LMBPN. Last week we talked about the timing of the release and why that was different, but now we're going to talk about releasing to a wide market versus an Amazon exclusive market. Historically, 99.5% of our books have been distributed to an Amazon exclusive market, which means they're available to Kindle Unlimited users. And a lot of our readers are Kindle Unlimited readers. So a wide strategy, just even considering a wide strategy, that's a big decision to make. So let's kind of talk through why we made the decision to go wide with this series.
So let's understand the rules for Kindle Unlimited. Amazon places a certain amount of rules in order for a company to place books into Kindle Unlimited, and the biggest one ever is that if you are going to be on Kindle Unlimited, you cannot have this book anywhere else. And that's fine. I'm not arguing that decision. That's theirs to make, and I think it's been very beneficial for Amazon and plenty of indie authors. However, the challenge is that you can't. And by the way, the Kindle Unlimited is a 90-day. You're in 90 days, you can get out. You're in 90 days, you can get out. But for something like this, for Opus X, for the company to be able to grow to a level where we're able to reach more potential readers, we need to get out of at least once. We need to be able to do it for 9 months to 2 years. And that, before we come back into Kindle Unlimited with a product line. And so Opus X has the feel of something that is a Arthurian Gambit size. And, for those that are familiar with Arthurian Gambit, it has sold 1 million plus titles, one way or the other, whether it's in Kindle Unlimited or the ebooks themselves. We've sold, over 1 million copies of these books. And so with Opus X, we need something of that size and that gravitas in order to be able to break into the wide market. Now, because Amazon has it and it goes 90 days, we're limited tactically how we handle these things. So it's a decision where you make it upfront. You're going to do this, and you pretty much have to do it going forward. And so since we have 12 books and we're committed to doing this for 18 months, and we have audio partners that we're going to be doing this with, that's the reason. Now, having said that, how are we going to facilitate for our Kindle Unlimited fans? And the answer is that we will, if you're a part of our email list, you know that we put out Wild Wednesdays. And Wild Wednesdays are an opportunity for LMBPN to promote both internal books and external books, meaning those that people that we know about or friends of LMBPN will promote their books, and they're 99 cents. Why it's wild. And so we, get a hold of that email, get on that email, because with Wide, we're not limited to where we can sell. We can sell our own books, as an example, and we'll be able to create something to where we'll let some of our fans know in the Wild Wednesday, go get it here. It'll be 99 cents for you.
And it is possible also, I don't know whether we're going to do this or not, it's also possible for us to sell the books directly to people.
Yes.
Through
that's
the
what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yes.
Book funnel. My thought was book funnel.
Okay. So that brings us to, let's go back. Let's go back to the Wide versus Kindle Unlimited and the decision. From a financial standpoint, you're willing to take a significant risk because you see the benefit of wide distribution as being worth taking that risk.
I expect to lose a lot of money. That's what I expect, at least in the next 2 years. And we're talking multiple six figures of income in the next 2 years on this. And so why would I do that when it's so obvious that it would be easy to get it? And the answer is because LMBPN is not just Michael Anderle. LMBPN is 40 to 50 collaborators right now and growing. LMBPN is one of the indie publishing front companies to understand how to accomplish stuff. We built the 20 books to 50K group by giving away our knowledge of what we've learned. And right now, there's no understanding or little understanding of how to accomplish going wide, and we certainly don't have the information. So for all of these reasons and a couple of more, we need to understand what's going on. And the only way I know how to do that is to go try to do it and to integrate with other companies who are facilitating that. And so from there, we can go to who are our collaborators, Steve.
All right, let's talk about collaborators. Actually, but before we go to collaborators, we first made the decision to go wide with audio with some of our titles maybe
Yes.
6 months ago.
After the Frankfurt Book Fair.
Yeah, we have some sense of the difficulty of taking things to a brand new market, because in Amazon, everyone knows Michael Anderle. You know, you're ranked very high amongst all authors in Amazon. Your books are ranked very high amongst all authors in Amazon. The audiobooks do well at Amazon. But when you go somewhere else, you're just one of a million other products that are out there. And so that gave us some sense of what we were up against with this. And I know this was a part of the plan from the beginning, but it helps to explain the value of partners. We had a partner when we decided to go wide with the audiobooks. We have several partners for the wide distribution of the Opus X series, and not just for the ebooks and the print books, but for audio as well. So do you want to start talking about the various partners?
Absolutely. So for those who don't know, I mean, when we say wide, what we're really talking about is non-Amazon exclusivity. And we typically say that the core second tier, if you will, because if you look at it just from a book selling, Amazon is the one who sells the most books. But then you have Apple, and Apple, of course, is worldwide with the iPhone and all of the tablets that they have. And then you have Kobo, which is a company based out of Canada, but they're actually owned by Rakuten, which is a Japanese company. You have Barnes & Noble, which has been recently purchased by, I believe, the same company that owns Waterstones out of the UK. You have Google and the Google Play Store, and they're actually getting more back into the whole ebooks. They had shut down ebooks for quite a while. And then you have, and I kid you not, hundreds of other distributors around the world. One of the reasons I originally went with Amazon is because I understood that it was just me at that time, and I didn't have the ability to look around and try to upload to all of the different locations when I just could focus on one and try to get a big chunk of that share. Now that the LMBPN is much larger, we still need partners, because while we can go to the big guys, and Steve, this is operations on your side, but we can go to Amazon Direct, we can go to Apple, we have Kobo partners. But once we go to the big ones, that's about it. Now we have to get partners to go other places. And so, Steve, you've been working with a few of these. Can you speak to Draft to Digital and Publish Drive?
Yeah, and they're similar in their product offerings. They're different in their pricing structure. So if you're an author, an indie author, that would be important to you. But both of them will take the books and distribute them to a variety of places. Draft to Digital can get us most places, most of the places that people in the U.S. would be aware of, and a few of the places that people in Europe might be aware of. Publish Drive is everywhere internationally, and we're going to be using Publish Drive to get us into China for this series, which is really cool because that's a massive market, and we know that our head of marketing it's very important for us to break into that market. But it's fascinating to me when you're setting up the book, so on these two platforms, at just the scope of businesses that they have relationships with. So you can set the book up once, and if you just choose one of those two, say you choose Draft to Digital, then you just set it up and they take care of everything else. and then they send you the money when they get paid. A period of time after they get paid, and they charge a fee for doing that. Publish Drive does much the same, but they are not located in the United States, so their focus is not necessarily U.S. bookstores. It's all around the world. And then Kobo, everyone has to be familiar with Kobo. They've been out there forever. They have a great deal of market penetration in Canada and in certain European countries, and they've also got an unlimited somewhere in
that's right,
in Europe as well. I
Finland,
can't remember where that is, but
Norway.
they did. It might
It's
be
up in that area.
one of the Scandinavian
But
countries.
what about the Big W, man? You remember the Big W? They have a partner that they just came out with
You're
a few
right.
months ago.
Yes, the big W being Walmart. Yes,
That's right. Yeah,
and
so Coupa has their own technology. They have their own products, but also you can go into Walmart right now, and if you go back into the electronics section, you will see an area where you can get ebooks, and Kobo is the one who drives that.
And just like reading a Kindle book on your phone, there are Kobo apps for your phone. Pretty much every ebook store has an app through which you can get read these books. So, I mean, that is essentially what we're going for with the wide strategy. If we were bigger, it would save us money to be able to go direct to more places. But we're not there yet. We don't have a staff of people who can upload books to 200 stores around the world.
Or the money to invest in maybe a $30,000 or $40,000 software platform to do it for us.
There are places that will do that, and maybe at some point we'll get to that point. But as you said, it's an investment in education as well. And one of the things that we're trying to do in learning ourselves is to be able to show how it's done. And you're going to be talking about this at the 20 Books Conference in Las Vegas in November.
Correct, actually. So the 20 Books Conference, which is the November 12th to the 14th, and then there's stuff on either side of that, but those are the main core days, will be just a week and a half to almost 2 weeks right after our first release. And the only partner that we have, Apple, which we haven't spoken to yet, we've spoken to Apple, but they won't be speaking it or being at the 20 Books event. We spoke to Apple. I'm going to go to the side real quick, but we spoke to Apple at the New York Book Expo. Mm-hmm. We were able to meet a couple of their representatives, and they are very close to the vest with how they do things, and we're not sure how much we can speak to, so we don't want to speak too much because they're going to be a great partner, but they're very new to us. We're blessed to be in a position where most of these wide partners know who we are, and most of that, to your point, Steve, is because they've been involved with 20 Books to 50K, which is an indie author-focused group on Facebook, and because of Craig Martell, we have events that go on around the world where we try to go and help other authors. It's a nonprofit. He makes me pay my own ticket every day and time.
He makes us all pay for our own tickets.
He does this to me every year when he's like, "Okay, man, PayPal's set up. You need to go test it out."
Yeah, you have to buy the first ticket every year.
Yes. But in that, one of the things the partners are looking at, and because of 20 Books, we know Kobo. Because of 20 Books, we know Draft to Digital. We know Publish Drive, and we just have communications. It was neat. Draft to Digital got us the first connection with Apple, and it was neat to see that Apple knew who we were, even though we didn't know who with any of the names of the people mm-hmm. inside there. But one of the pieces that we've been explaining to our partners is we want a white paper. We want something that we can share. What did we learn doing this? And part of it, I think, that we would immediately be able to help is we got feedback to release pre-orders a bunch more than we thought. You want to speak to that real quick?
Yeah, our original plan was to set up the pre-orders as soon as the current book was published. So every 6 weeks there would be a new pre-order. And in talking to our partners, it was unanimous that was not the right approach to take. The right approach to take was to set up as many of the pre-orders as we could at one time. And since we had 6 covers done, we were able to set up six pre-orders.
And they should be able to see them all now when this audio goes out.
Yes,
this video,
yes.
this podcast.
So we'll have links to. Well, let's talk about a couple of other things. There's going to be an Opus X website, and there's going to be an Opus X Facebook group. So we'll have links to both of those in the show notes. If you're listening to this, you'll be able to get in a couple days early because those aren't being released to the world until September 1st. But you'll know about it, and you'll be able to see the link and go to it. It's the website is opusxseries.com, and the Facebook group will be something like lmbpn.opusx. You'll be able to search for it and find it. So we'll have links to all of the pre-orders. You'll be able to see all 6 of the covers, and then there's going to be a lot of additional information that's going to be coming, like the kinds of things we talked about last week. Really cool artwork, really cool little movies and things like that turned this into a passion project for Michael. So back to the whole wide strategy. So we have all of the books because Amazon generally lets you set up pre-orders for up to 90 days. Something that we did not know is that you could, well, maybe you knew this because I think you told me, but it's not general knowledge that they will allow you to set up pre-orders longer than that. It's a bit of a process to do it, but they will help you to do that. So we're going to be able to set up the pre-orders. Oh, you are on brand all the time. So for podcast listeners, he's holding up his bottle of Coke and pointing to the Coke logo while wearing his LMBPN shirt.
One of these days, it'll be, it would please me if Coke would just call me up and say, "Hey, can we just pay you $500 for $500 for all of the free marketing that you had given us and everywhere?" And I will say, yes, I will. And I'm going to put that check and I'm going to put it on the wall. And I'm going to frame it, and it's going to be an acid-free framing, so it'll last for decades. That is the only goal I had, and I did this on purpose. Well, I love Coke, but I did do it on purpose with Arthurian Gambit, where I chose Coke, thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I could just get Coke to connect with me to do a marketing thing? 3.5 years, 4 years almost, and I'm still they don't have a clue who I am. Damn it.
But you're trying, and
I'm trying.
Maybe someone at Coke will be watching this, and now they'll know.
I can only hope. So, anyway, going back to a little bit. So the wide thing, we looked at it. It is a business decision as much as anything else, and the only real challenge that we have are our valued and loved Kindle Unlimited readers. And Kindle Unlimited, for those of you who don't know, is an opportunity to spend kind of like Netflix of books. There are plenty of books that are not in Kindle Unlimited, and there's various reasons for it. And so we still need to take care of those readers. And so if you'll jump onto the Opus X website, there will be a link to an email that you'll be able to connect to, an LMBPN email, and we will make notes of when we will have the book or books at at 99 cents for probably just 24 hours. And we'll do it every so often. So if you miss one, don't stress. They will come around again in the next month or two in order to be able to get them the opportunity to read these. And then eventually, probably in 2 years, we'll pull it once we go down and put it in Kindle Unlimited. But it will be a while before that happens, unfortunately.
Yes, and we've mentioned a couple different email lists. There's the main LMBPN email list that you can subscribe to from lmbpn.com, and then there will be an Opus X specific email list. Both of those email lists will get you the information on how to get the book for 99 cents. So, or either of those. You don't have to subscribe to both of them, but why not?
Yeah,
it's just that easy.
You want to hear from us.
I suspect there are going to be a lot of authors that are listening to this. And we mentioned the 20 Books Conference, and you've mentioned meeting people at conferences. You're in Dublin now. We mentioned that. You travel around the world to various conferences. Part of that is some of these conferences you're speaking at. Some of them you're just going as Michael Anderle, LMBPN Publishing, as a publisher to meet people. And not almost, all of the partner relationships that we have come from those meetings. We've mentioned a lot of book distributors. We haven't mentioned our audiobook distributor yet. So let's talk about Dreamscape Audio and how you met them. When did you first meet them?
Well, Tammy Faxel is the individual from Dreamscape, and this is completely Judith's fault. I can tell you without any reservation, I was dragged kicking and screaming to an event one of the days of the Frankfurt Book Fair last year. And it was I believe it's the Z-Relation event maybe. Mm-hmm. And so it was going to be held in some location. And she's like, I'm going to take us where it's a free and open. And like, who in the world is Z-Relation? And so we go there. And so we have to go now, remember, because it was kind of near our hotel at the time. And so, but we had to walk down this one road and then we had to circle back. And if you've ever been to European cities, some of these roads are brick roads. And I just wanted to kick and scream. And then I remember we had to ask somebody because it was like down another side street. And then you go into this beautiful building that's, I don't know, probably older than America. And we go into the building. We have to go up the stairs. So it was in a restaurant and then up. And it was almost, in these circular rooms. And they have it all laid out. Now, the reason I don't like to go to these is because I'm very insecure when it comes to meeting new people. I'm that introvert when it comes to that. And so we're up there. Now, Judith is the opposite of me. She'll go up and she'll talk to people and she'll say hi. And then, I just want to be, what's that song right now? I'm at a party I don't want to be at. Judith made me listen to it. I'm like, that song is so me. But she goes up there and she meets a lady by the name of Michelle Cobb. And Michelle Cobb happens to be the Audio Publisher Association, main, I don't know her exact title.
I don't know what her title is, but she is involved in every aspect of the world of audio. And yeah, so the APA that puts on the big conference in New York, she is at the top level there. I'm not exactly sure what their title is.
Executive director or something.
Every single top level audiobook discussion you get involved in seems to be led by Michelle Cobb. So I mean, she yes. knows everyone, and she's a great resource.
So from there, Michelle, I think, either pulled Tammy over or something, but Tammy Faxel with Dreamscape. Dreamscape is another, they're connected with Hoopla, which is a major audio program as well. And so we were talking, and by we, I mean Judith, was talking, getting to know Tammy and everything. Well, we have a great conversation there. It was really cool because we get to meet Z-Relation, whom we're now a partner with. Tammy Faxel with Dreamscape, who now is a major partner of ours. And we also met one other company that name escapes me. Oh, well, Michelle,
yeah.
who we've done work with and understood what was going wide. Judith is in London. Let me think about this. Because somehow she met her also. But anyway, we randomly run into Tammy now the London Book Fair is at a large center. And it's got multiple floors, multiple avenues. And Judith and I were walking toward an elevator. And who comes out of that elevator out of 4 million square feet or whatever the real number is? It's probably 20. But Tammy. And we have been wanting to meet her. So we're running into her all over the place. And so we set up a meeting for lunch. And now this time when we meet her and we meet her for lunch, we're having pizza. Judith is showing some of the new stuff, some of the new artwork, and Tammy's even now more excited. She's like, we want to be a partner with you on this Opus X project. And I thought, oh, man, that's really cool of her to say that. Now, I'm not believing it necessarily because I'm like, these are sales and marketing people. They always say wonderful things. But no, Tammy actually meant it. And so we meet Tammy every so often. We're working with Tammy on some different projects, and she's constantly saying, Dreamscape wants to be your partner for Opus X. And Judith is managing that relationship and everything else, but it just kind of came down to it. And I think you were pleasantly surprised as well when, they came back and we said, okay, it's time for us to release. And Judith does an amazing job at the relationships and the getting people together and making sure that we're all on track. And and before I knew it, Tammy had either convinced Judith or something, and Dreamscape was our partner, and they signed up, and they're just, amazing to work with. So
They are. They are. Everybody that we're working with is as a part of the Opus X project, it has been amazing. We have scheduled regular calls that all the partners participate on, and these are high-level people in these companies that are taking their time to be a part of these 30 to 45-minute calls, so that as we're laying out our plan to be successful with the wide launch of Opus X. And we're really excited about it. The first book comes out on November 1st. The first book is Obsidian Detective. As we mentioned, the website will be available now. You'll get a couple days head start on seeing what's there, but just be aware of the fact that there's going to be a lot of new content coming. Right now, Michael mentioned, I think it was in the first show, the idea of a car reveal.
mm-hmm.
So that's kind of cool. We're excited about the car reveal. There's the Facebook group, and there's going to be some pretty cool Facebook contests that we're going to start running as well in early September. So be on the lookout for that. We will be back. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and we could use your help. There's nothing harder to get the news out and the word out about a book and a book series. And the best way to do it is just book readers telling book readers. It is absolutely the best. So if there's a way that we can help you help us, let us know.
Absolutely. And one simple way that you can help us, the next show that Michael and I do is going to be answering fan questions, reader questions. So if you've got questions about the series, about the strategy, about where you can get one of these cool LMBPN T-shirts, which you really can't get if you.
But if enough you ask.
Yes. Has Michael been contacted by Coke yet with the $500 check?
Let's hope. Let's hope. I will frame that.
Post those questions in the Facebook group, and we will address those on in a couple of weeks. I think we're 2 weeks away from the next show. So, Michael, any closing words on the wide strategy and our fabulous partners?
No, just you mentioned it this show that no one knows me on these other areas to speak of. They don't know me on Kobo. They don't really know me on Apple. They don't know me. And that is going to be a new, and I like to think that I'm very humble anyway, but humbling experience to be a nobody.
And yes, and to use a Michael Anderle-ism, I mean, this is a new mountain for you.
Yes,
it's a new mountain to climb, and it's a big one.
Yeah, looks really large, just saying. And so we will have just come back from the Beijing Book Fair. We're landing today.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will be back with Michael in 2 weeks. And, keep in mind that we're here most days with author discussions going behind the fiction. So join us for those. If you're not already subscribed to the podcast, please do. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do. We'll be back shortly.
Later.